fall, winter, week before Thanksgiving kind of weather. We're talking to Marilyn Camacho. She's appearing in Brain People. That occurs the 12th of November through the 12th of December, Batella Baño, 2620 West Division Street. We've had a couple of callers, and I wanted to shoot the YouTube footage, and these people keep calling. What are you, big and famous and popular? Man. But caller, hang on, don't go anywhere. I want people to get a more of a scope of who you are and where you come from, because I'm reading on your MySpace, which you haven't logged on to since September, young lady.
I know.
And
Jesus, Facebook's taken over.
Unique situation in which you are the Puerto Rican daughter of a Mexican community.
Yeah, my family, we grew up in Pilsen. I grew up in Pilsen, right on 18th and Cullerton.
I know that well. That's right by the park.
Dvorak Park.
The Dvorak Park.
We live right across the street from
the
the
swimming
Dvorak
pool
Park.
Right there.
Yep. And we were like the only Puerto Ricans in the whole neighborhood. And after that, we moved to 21st and Walcott. And my uncles actually own a building there. And again, the only Puerto Rican family like in the neighborhood. And my uncles actually still live there. And yeah, so we grew up. I didn't grow up in a I didn't grow up in Humboldt Park. I had other family members that were in that area, and we would obviously go visit, and I got a taste of that.
You've had a little bit of both. You've had the flags of steel, and then you've had the Mayan bridge.
Yeah, and it was funny, like I moved back into the neighborhood, so I'm living in Pilsen now, too. Actually 2 blocks away from where I grew up as a kid, so it kind of feels good to be back in the area, and God has changed so much. But it's a great community. I love being back.
You've also had an interesting set of influences, both musical and personal. Tell me about that. Let's see if you know where I'm coming from, because we didn't talk beforehand.
Yes. Well, I come from a big family. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers. There's 8 of us, and I'm the middle child of the girls, obviously. And I growing up, my family, hip hop was a big influence in my family from my brothers. My 2 older brothers, they were breakers, graffiti artists. My uncles were part of, basically dance breaking crews. So, like, growing up as a kid, going outside in front of my house, we actually used to live across the street from the Dvorak Park. They used to have the mats out, and they used to do the break dancing. So I grew up around.
You guys could afford mats?
Yeah, I know, right?
That was cardboard stuff? She is a rich Puerto Rican.
It was more cardboards than anything. So I grew up around that, and then, like, my sisters were into, like, the new wave at the time, freestyle music and classics, so I kind of have a really well-rounded background. Then, of course, my parents always playing the music from the island, the salsa, the merengue. So. But
this is kind of interesting, because in the Latino culture, a lot of times they're not always supportive of being a performing artist. Either. A lot of times, they don't even say go to college. They say finish high school and go to work.
Oh yeah.
And then in some cultures, it was okay to have babies right after high school, because you got to carry the family name. So you wanted to become a performer early on?
Yeah, I was always a little drama queen when I was a kid. I was always like singing and hopping around the house, dancing, and like my brothers used to yell at me when I was a little girl because I used to talk to myself before I went to bed, but I wasn't talking to myself. I was literally just like, I had characters like sitting in the couches next to me, and I would play out little scenes in my head.
I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, so I was a very, I guess you could say, artistic child, and I always wrote poetry.
But the support was there?
Yeah, the support
it was never the woman's place is whatever?
No, my parents were never really like that. I mean, I think they were kind of concerned.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my parents were a little bit concerned, when they figured out, like, oh my God, she's going to college and she's going to study theater and acting, and I think there's obvious worry and concern there because, it's not a career that's guaranteed, It's something that people work years and years and years at before even getting close to making it. So there was definitely some concern there, but in the end, they've supported me throughout the whole, thing. I went to a performing arts high school. I went to Curie High School, and I studied drama and chorus and singing stuff there, and I was always in plays there as well. So they've been supportive throughout the whole process. They got the picture, the idea that this is what I want to do. So now they just embrace it.
And you're being embraced by your fandom at 773-777-1450. But I did want to talk about that. And you've also done a lot of paying dues. I mean, yeah, for months we couldn't get in contact because you were doing a movie. But you've done a lot of things, where you're putting yourself out there, and it's not, obviously it's not financial gain. So it's not an overnight thing for you, is it?
No, absolutely not. This has been years, from coming back from college, coming back into the city and hitting the ground running, trying to go to these open mics and get myself acquainted with the hip hop community here, and then also trying to get my foot in the door in the theater community.
And that's got to be the worst one. And I don't know how you geek yourself up for an open mic. We've done punts at night. We've had them here to talk about some of the things that they're doing, and they're like, "Come on down, sign up." 7:30, the microphone turns on. That's insane. I mean, I'm sure it prepares you for life.
Yeah.
But man, I don't think I'd want to do that.
I mean, it's tough. It's not for everybody. You gotta definitely have thick skin to do this. I mean, and I think. Speaking from an actor's point of view, going to auditions and getting yourself revved up to go in there and give it your best. And sometimes when you don't get the audition or you don't land it, we get down on ourselves. But after a while, you just got to learn that it's the nature of the business. You just got to pick yourself up and keep moving.
Very cool. 10:54 is heading towards 11 o'clock, and I don't have multiple arms, so I'm going to put the